motel phone rang even though the cord was in my hand and the jack dangled against the wall. It sounded low and dull, like it had swallowed dust. I looked at the woman beside the bed. She looked at me. We hadn't exchanged names, not real ones. We were sharing the room because the desk guy said the other rooms were wet from a leak, which sounded like a lie, but it was late. The sign outside said vacancy and flickered pink. Or red. I can't swear now. It got in under the blinds and cut across the carpet. The air unit breathed warm, and then cold, and then warm again. I'm a private investigator. I don't say detective because that makes people try to impress you. I take cheap work, and I don't bring nice luggage. I was supposed to wait on a call about a girl and a phone bill. That was the job. I wasn't here to meet her. I wasn't here to meet anyone. I don't know why I let a stranger split a room. She said she didn't feel safe driving farther. She had a small bag and a tired face. That was enough. I held up the loose line like proof. Unplugged, see? My hand shook a little because of the coffee. The phone rang again. Not loud. Just one ring, and it cut off. The voicemail light blinked once, then stayed dark. There wasn't even a voicemail system. I knew that because I had stayed here once. Maybe that was a different place. Maybe that was last summer. I don't know. She said, "Don't answer it." I didn't. I set the cord down. It swung and tapped the wall. The tap sounded wrong, like there were wires behind the plaster doing their own thing. I picked the receiver up anyway and held it sideways, like some kind of joke to the room. I pressed it to my ear. Nothing at first. Then the soft clicks, the little ticks when someone breathes through their teeth over a wire. I know those sounds. I've sat on stakeouts listening to couples fight on thin lines. "Front desk," I said, even though that wasn't how it worked. "You got a short somewhere." No answer. The earpiece got warm against my skin. Not hot then, just like a hand. I pulled it away. I put it back. The click stopped. Then I got a fast busy. The triple beat that scolds you. I'm not sure why, but it made me mad. I hung up harder than I meant to. The bell rattled under the dial. I went to the door and cracked it. The hall smelled like bleach and cigarettes. The neon buzzed out by the parking lot and bounced off the wet cars. The rain had been light when we got there. It was heavier now. One guy smoked by the ice machine and didn't look at me. It was that kind of motel. The woman sat on the far bed and rubbed her arms. "It said your name," she said, in the dial tone. I watched her mouth to see if she was messing with me. She stared at the phone. "What name?" I said. "Yours," she said. "You told me when we checked in." I hadn't. I avoid that. "You probably heard the room number or something," I said. But even as I said it, I felt my neck go tight. I don't remember if I told her. It was a long day. Maybe I did. I dialed the front desk. The button pad stuck on the 0. The phone gave me another busy. Then it clicked, and I heard two voices talking over each other about a TV remote. Cross lines. Motel switchboards do that sometimes. "You kidding me?" I said, and hung up. I pulled the drawer open and found a yellow pencil and nothing else. "I'm just going to ask for another room," I said. "No big thing." She pulled her knees up. "I don't want to go in the hall." "It's fine," I said. I took the key off the round plastic fob. It said 12. I thought we had 14. I checked the door. It did say 12. The numbers looked new. I must have mixed it up before. The sign outside stuttered when I opened the door. The rain made the parking lot look deeper than it was. A bell sat on the counter, and there was a handwritten note that said "back in 10" stuck under a chipped horseshoe. I rang it. Nothing. The phone on the clerk's side blinked a red voicemail light that didn't belong to it. I called, "Hello," and I listened for movement in the little back room. There was a TV back there going to snow. I could hear it. I knocked the counter once and tried the swing door. It didn't budge. "All right," I said, to no one. I walked back. The payphone on the corner by the vending machines rang just one crisp ring, and died. The sound was clean. Not like the room phone. It made the hair on my arm go up. The rain ran off the metal hood. I thought about the last time I'd seen a payphone that worked. Couldn't tell you. I stepped toward it and then didn't. I went back to the room. She had the phone to her ear when I opened the door. She was whispering, "Hello?" Like the second hello was going to fix the first. She flinched and pulled it away, like something popped close to her ear. "It burned," she said, surprised, not hurt. She put the receiver down and stared at me. "It said my name," she said. "Like you, but wrong." "What's your name?" I asked her. I thought I knew, but I didn't want to use it if I was wrong. That's a small thing that kills trust. Her mouth moved and stopped. She put a hand over it. Tears came and she rubbed them away hard. "I don't want to tell it again," she said. That bothered me more than the phone. I picked it up and pressed the back of my fingers to the earpiece first. Warm. I held it to my ear. All I got was breathing, or some steady noise like the ocean in a seashell but thinner. Then it snapped, and a voice said my name. Or it didn't. It might have been my name. It might have been the room number. The neon hit my eye and made me squint. I hung up and ran my fingers along the cord. The rubber was sticky from age. It had a kink near the plug. I tugged, and the whole base shifted. I lifted the phone off the desk to check for roaches. There weren't any. There were folded notes under the base. 3 of them, like they'd been there a while. I unfolded the first and saw 10-digit numbers written in pencil. Some had times next to them. 203A. 317A. The second note had a name in block letters that I recognized and didn't, and my own number below it. I know my own number. I don't write it down. The 7 had a diagonal slash. At first, I thought that wasn't me. I don't slash my 7s. Then I remembered I used to because I got sick of misreading numbers. I stopped, I thought, years ago. I might have started again and never noticed. "What's that?" she said. "Just junk," I said. I refolded them. The paper felt damp at the corners like skin. I slid them back where I found them and wiped my hand on my pants. "Some guy's takeout orders," I said. I dialed one of the numbers anyway. The button for 9 stuck and made the tone long. It went to a recorded voice that said the number had been disconnected. I tried another. Busy. The triple beat. I hung up. The wall behind the desk had a plastic plate where a jack should have been. No lights. I put my ear to it like an idiot. I heard the same thin ocean sound, only faster. It was coming from deep in the wall. It made the hair on my cheek tickle. There was dust on the plate. I wiped it. Something moved behind it. Not big. Not warm. Just a shift, like a pull on a line. I stepped back and breathed through my mouth. "I'm going to the room next door," I said. "Just to see if their line is dead too." She shook her head. "I won't be 5 minutes," I said. "I'll prop the door." I slid the door chain on ours so I didn't lock myself out. The hallway carpet grabbed at my shoes. The door for 14 was open a crack. Someone must have been cleaning. I knocked. "Housekeeping?" I said. I don't know why. There was no answer. I pushed the door. The room was the same as ours, but turned. The bed was stripped. The phone sat on the desk with the receiver off the cradle, The cord coiled around the base like someone had been thinking about throwing it. The voicemail light blinked once and stopped. "You're kidding me," I said. I hung the receiver up. I listened. Nothing. I dialed the front desk. "Busy?" I got two other voices again, a man and a woman arguing. A crossed line. A third voice cut in and said, "Riley," and the others went quiet. That was my name. I'm not proud, but that was when I started to sweat for real. I hung up and wiped the phone with my sleeve. I felt watched then, but not by a person. By a room. That's not right. I'll say it different. I felt like I was too loud for where I was. There was a note under that phone too. I didn't want to, but I looked. Same pencil. Same hand. "Call me at this number." Below it, "We are in 12. The "we" made me mad. I went back to our room fast and shut the door. The chain slid all the way and I had to jiggle it to get it to catch. The neon flashed and the line under the door lit up and went dark. She was by the window looking through the slit in the curtain. "He's up there again," she said. "Who?" "The guy by the ice," she said. "He keeps checking the payphone." I stepped up and looked. The smoker was gone. The payphone sat there humming. I couldn't hear it with the door closed, but I knew it was. I couldn't see the cord from this angle. There was a smear on the plexi. Rain ran down it like it was second skin. My head hurt. "You sure you're not waiting on a call?" I said. "From anyone?" She held her bag to her chest. "I don't even know you," she said. "Why would I?" That was fair. I was being a jerk. I messed with the phone cord again just to do something with my hands. The insulation split under my thumbnail and I felt the little hair wires inside. It made a dry squeak. The earpiece gave off heat I could feel on my wrist. The motel TV didn't have a remote. There was a row of buttons on the side. I hit the power to drown the quiet. Black screen. No channel. The picture rolled once, caught, and went to snow. The sound hissed. That shouldn't happen with the inputs dead. I turned it off. I turned it on. In the second before the snow, I thought I saw a shape reflected that didn't match the two of us. Something longer. A shoulder bending down toward a mouthpiece, long neck like someone leaning in. The neon jumped, and I couldn't see it again. I reached up and palmed the edge of the TV frame and it hummed through my bones. "This is stupid," I said. That was my move. Put the world back in its place by calling it stupid. Get your shoes on. We're leaving. I grabbed my bag. It wasn't heavy. It felt like it should have been. We got to the door. The latch stuck. That happens when motel doors swell from weather. I lifted and yanked. It gave. The chain rattled like I was shaking it. I cracked it and looked out. The hallway seemed longer. That's another dumb thing to say. You know how it is when you don't sleep. "Your car," she said. "Yeah," I said. We ran and bounced down the cracked steps. I hit my fob, and the car lights flashed, but the horn didn't. The air smelled like wet laundry. I slid in and jammed the key. It went halfway and caught. I jiggled. This is the part where I say it was like someone had jammed something in the ignition, but no. It was just an old cylinder. It did that sometimes. I jiggled too hard and my wrist popped and I swore. I tried again. It turned this time. The dash lit. The radio clicked to life and spat out the other half of a sentence from talk radio. Then it cut and gave me a busy signal. That's not possible. It was the same tone, fast, like it was coming out of the speakers. The door speakers behind my calves and the dash, all of them. My skin crawled and I slapped the radio and it didn't stop. I killed the ignition. The tone kept going for a second. Then it faded slow, like it had to die out. She had her hand on my arm hard enough to mark. "Please," she said. She was looking out the back window. I turned and looked. The payphone hood had something in it that wasn't a person. Not a shape. Like heat rising, only flat. The rain was thick around it and thin under it. That's how I read it. It made the line of the motel sign wiggle wrong. It looked like a shadow with nothing to cast it. The bulb in the neon letter flickered and stuttered, like breath held and let go. I blinked and it was just rain. My eyes hurt. "Okay," I said. "Okay." I opened the door and the rain hit my face and felt warm. We went back inside because that's what we deserve. I don't have to explain that part. When you've only got one bad option, you keep taking it. In the room, the phone was off the hook. I had left it on. I know that much. The cord lay in a long loop on the carpet. The loop made a shape too smooth to be random. I kicked it. It moved like cord does. "We're switching rooms," I said. "If they want to comp me a free night after the fact, fine." We went to 14 and I knocked. Nothing. I used the card they gave us because they sometimes set the locks the same. The green light turned and clicked. That felt like stealing even though it wasn't. I opened it and the room smelled colder, like someone had run the AC high. The phone in 14 had 2 notes under it now. I know I shouldn't say that because it sounds like a scare line, but it did. I didn't look at them. The voicemail light winked once, in time with the neon outside, like it got the same power. I picked up the receiver and pressed it to my ear. Something touched my hair. Not a hand. A whisper of a touch that lifted the tiny ones at the back of my neck and set them down again. "Riley," said the earpiece. It was me. My own voice? I don't sound like that. I sound rougher. It was me asking, from a long time ago or from next week. I slammed the phone down. My fingertips tingled. "Okay," I said again. "Okay." The woman stood by the door like a kid called into a principal's office. "I think we met before," she said, "but I don't remember it right." She looked at me hard. "Did you call me? A while ago?" "I don't think so," I said. I mean, I don't see why I would. But I had a picture then, not clear, of a rainy, run-down strip, and me in a car with a phone to my ear and a voice on the other end that whispered like a vent. I pushed it away. "Let's go downstairs," I said. "We'll sit in the lobby until someone shows up." That sounded smart. The lobby door was locked. The sign still said back in 10. The payphone rang 1. The ring bounced inside my skull. The wires hummed inside the walls. I put my hand on the paneling and felt the buzz. It vibrated my palm bones. The elevator was out of order because there wasn't an elevator. We took the stairs down again and then back up because I couldn't stand on the ground floor with the doors shut and the humming in the ceiling. That's when I knew we were not going to leave. Not by walking. Not by car. Not by any way that used a line for callouts. I didn't say that. I didn't want to hear it out loud. We holed up in 12 because that's where our things were. The woman whispered, "I hate this," in a flat voice, like she was trying not to throw up. I checked my phone. 1 bar sometimes, then none. I put it on the table by the motel phone and plugged it into the outlet. The cord heated up faster than it should. I pulled it and left the phone there. A voicemail dot blinked on my cell screen, just for a flash. I didn't have voicemail. I never set it up. It blinked and went dark. I put my thumb on it anyway, and it opened, and there was an empty list that scrolled on its own, like it was trying to draw something with dots and nothing to draw with. "I think we're crossing lines," I said. "That happens. Old wiring. I kept saying things like that. I think to make her feel better. Maybe to make it feel like a job again. I went back to the desk phone and took the notes out. I unfolded them in order. The pencil marks were heavier now, like someone had gone over them with a darker hand. The times were all between 2 and 3 in the morning. The name in block letters on the second note was the same as the girl I was supposed to ask about. I knew it then. I had been here to watch for calls to her. From here. From a room. I could see the invoice in my head. Motel names look like each other. Sand. Pine. Lake. Maybe I had been here last week and left notes under a phone and forgot. That would be a first. It didn't feel like a first. I flipped to the last note. There was a line on the back that said, "Call me when you check in, R." That was my initial, or some other R. I don't do that. I don't write to myself. It looked like my hand. That twist in the 7 again. Like I said. The woman watched me fold and unfold paper. She said, "They told me you were good." I shook my head. Who did? She opened her mouth and shut it. Maybe it was a joke, she said. I don't think it was. The lights in the room dimmed. Not a power outage. A dip. Then they came back. The neon outside caught, stuttered, and held. And then the phone rang in my hand. I wasn't holding it. I was 2 steps away. It rang one short ring and I felt it in my palm, like a little muscle twitch. I picked it up by reflex. Mistake. The heat hit my ear in a flat wave, like holding it over an exhaust. I pulled it away, but the cord didn't give. It had looped around my wrist somehow, and when I yanked it, the cord cut a line into my skin. Not deep. Enough to make me say a word I don't like to say around women. "Hey," I said. The line on the other end breathed at me. It breathed out, and when it breathed out, I heard a whisper write it. Riley. My name, not a room number. It said it slow so I wouldn't miss it. Then it said the woman's name, the one she didn't want to say again. It said it right. I looked at her and she knew what it had said because she flinched like she'd been touched. "Don't," she said. She was crying now, small and angry. "Don't say it again." The voice on the line said it again. I tried to hang up and the cradle gave, but the call didn't drop. The busy signal came under the breathing like a heartbeat under a throat hum. The wires in the wall kicked. I swear they did. The plate by the desk flexed out a tiny bit and then back like it wasn't nailed flush. The cords that fed the lamp and the TV tightened. The slack left them and they pulled. The TV slid a 1/4 inch and stopped. The lamp leaned. The cords in the wall made a high sound, not like violins, like metal under stress. I stepped back and my heel caught the phone cord. It bit my ankle. I went down on my hip. The receiver made a hollow clack. The cord didn't coil nicely now. It laid flat and then pulled like someone was taking up the slack at the other end. The woman grabbed my hand. I yanked and we got me up. The receiver stayed in my other hand because I think I thought if I let it go it would wrap around something softer. The heat had made the plastic hot enough to leave a little crescent on the side of my face that I felt more than saw later. The voice kept breathing. Then it laughed, or coughed. It made a wet click. I wanted to put it down and step on it. I didn't. We made for the door again. The chain had fallen out of the track and lay up in the pocket. I unlocked it and the door wouldn't open. It felt like someone had leaned on the other side of it with their shoulder, just enough to be annoying. "Move," I said through my teeth. The woman pulled at the knob too, and she's stronger than she looked. It didn't budge. The busy tone was in my other ear, and then in the wall, and then in the air conditioner. It stuttered in the vent hard enough to rattle the little plastic vanes. The AC fan spooled and stopped and spooled. like it was trying to start another cycle without power. There was a split sound in the wall, like a crack, and the line plate popped loose and hung by a screw. A tangle of thin color wires made a smeared mouth of the hole. I am not trying to make it pretty. That's what it looked like. The wires were slick with dust and something that looked a little like oil. They hung and trembled in the vibrations. They moved toward me, then away, like breathing or tide. I stepped left and they pivoted like they had weight. They dipped. A couple of them brushed the top of my hand. It was the same kind of heat. The hairs curled. A white little line rose where one touched. The woman said my name. Not nice. Pushed out through her teeth. I looked at her. Her phone was still on the table. It buzzed where it lay, even though it was dead. The little green dot lit and went off, lit and went off, like it was blinking at her. "Don't," I said, but I was saying that to myself. She put her bag up like a shield and grabbed my elbow. We turned together and the cord around my wrist pulled against the movement. It tightened. I think it cut skin then. Blood made a thin circle. It wasn't a lot. It made the white cord sticky. I jerked my arm and the line went taut and then gave. The receiver flew forward and hit the wall by the door and cracked and bounced and landed face down. The speaker side was up. It said my name again, quiet, like it was telling me a secret. The hum behind the wall ran up in pitch like a kettle and then snapped off. For a second, I heard only the rain and the woman's breath in my heart. Then all the phones in the building rang once. I swear, one pulse. You could tell by how the sound rolled. Down the hall, up, the payphone outside, the clerks, our two. Maybe I'm making that up, but I don't think so. It went through me and left me colder. The wires in the wall pushed out farther like someone had shoved them from behind. They bowed and then fell. A bundle, thin, not heavy, but there were enough of them that when they hit my ankle, I felt the weight. I kicked. They rapped. Not smart. Don't kick thread. It takes it as invitation, but not like that. I went backward. The desk caught me at low back height and I folded over. The bundle slid up my calf with the buzzing through it. It felt like ants and pulled fishing line. I scrabbled at the desktop and knocked the motel Bible into the trash and didn't mean to. The receiver on the floor lifted, just an inch, and skittered toward me. Not slid, it hopped. The cord leading off it tightened and twanged like a bowstring and burned a stripe on the carpet. The lamp went out. The neon got louder. Oh, the woman grabbed the cord at my wrist and pulled hard enough that I thought she would break my hand. She couldn't untie it because it wasn't tied. It was threaded through itself, and the tension held it. She dug her nail under it, and her nail split, and that made my stomach dip. She cursed and used her teeth and got a little bit of slack. I used that and ripped my arm up, and skin went with it. Little pearls of blood. Not dramatic. Enough to sting. "Go," I said. And I meant it. "Go." She shook her head like a kid and didn't move. The hole in the wall opened more. Not like a mouth. Not like that. Just like old plaster giving up and breaking around the hole. A line of wires inside that shouldn't have moved did. They weren't big. The biggest was like a pencil lead. They came out in a bunch and then separated and fell like rain inside. They found corners. They found my belt and the loop of my bag and the curl of cable behind the TV. They squeezed through the slot in the side of the TV where the buttons were, and the picture came on by itself. Snow. Then a shape in the snow for a second, a long face maybe, a cheekbone, the slope of a jaw, and then it was all gray again and the busy tone rolled under the hiss. The heat in the room went up. I felt something crawl under my shirt, and I am not proud of the sound I made then. It was exactly the sound you think it was. The thin wire slid between my shoulder blades and stuck. It was not sharp. It just pressed and held. I tried to get my hand back there, and the cord at my wrist and the one around my ankle made it stupid. The woman tried to pull it out, and I yelled at her and then told her I was sorry in the same breath. The payphone outside rang. 1. It was softer through the rain, but it was there. The room phone, even with the receiver across the room, chirped a short pulse. My cell screen lit solid green and stayed. The woman finally moved. She went for the door chain. She ripped it out of the pocket with a snap that felt like hope. The door still didn't open. She threw her shoulder into it and said something I won't write. The sound in the wall went high again. The little wires tightened like muscles. I did the only smart thing I did all night. I picked up the receiver and put it to my ear again. I don't know why. I think because if you talk to something that talks, it stops doing other things maybe. "You want me? You got me," I said. That's stupid. I know. It's what you say when you're out of better. The plastic was almost too hot to hold. My ear skin went tight. The voice on the other end breathed in, and I breathed in with it without meaning to. It used that and made the line in my chest hum. It said my name again like it was finishing a prayer, and then it said a number. It said the number for the payphone outside. I know that because I've got a bad habit of plugging numbers into my head. It said it slow. It swallowed a digit and then said it again. It said the woman's name after that, twice, and the second time my voice came out of the phone saying it. Another me. A tired one. Not mean. Not kind. Just me. "He's good," it said, in her voice. Behind mine. Or maybe she said that in the room. I couldn't tell where anything came from. I should say I'm sure I didn't call her before. But when I put my tongue to a chip in my tooth, I remembered a call outside a bank where somebody didn't hang up right, and it kept the line open. I remembered saying a name into dead air just to see if I could make something happen. Maybe it was the same name. Maybe it was hers. Maybe that's why she trusted me for no reason at a desk with a horseshoe and a note. That's the twist knot in my head that won't let go. The lines made up their minds. They stopped tickling and started pulling. The thin one in my shirt pressed down hard and flattened. The one at my ankle bit deeper and my foot went cold. The cord at my wrist flexed and made the bloodline open a little more, and I felt wet. The wires that came out of the wall ran along the floor like spilled water and came up in a bundle around my calves. They didn't squeeze hard. They just closed. Enough to hold. I could tear free if I tore something else with it. That math is never nice. I threw the receiver as hard as I could at the window. It bounced off the glass and left a grease mark. The window didn't crack. They never do when you want them to. The woman got a hand in the door and pried it an inch and screamed for help into the hall. It wasn't a word. The sound had anger in it this time, not fear. Something moved past in the hall. It sounded like a rolling cart. The wires tightened incrementally, like what happens when a rope holds and you shift against it. They matched me. That's the part that felt inside out. They moved when I did, not when they wanted. They waited. The busy tone in the TV slipped and became the warble you get when two lines fold together. Crossed lines. Voices trying to come through and banging off each other. Names. Numbers. Dates. The notes under the phone in my hand. All the same stupid thing. I said to myself, stop fighting and it'll let you go. I told myself that like a bargain. The second I stopped pulling, all the slack came out and I knew I had lied. The bundle climbed. Not quick. No drama. Just sure. My thighs went warm where they touched. The heat was inside the wires and it entered me by pressure, not shock. It made my breath go shallow. I told the woman to run again. She didn't. She grabbed the base of the lamp and tried to lever the bundle off my leg. It did nothing. She swung it, and the bulb popped, and we were in neon and rain and TV light. I did the only other thing I could. I bent down and bit the cord around my wrist like it was a seatbelt jam. My teeth hit the rubber and then the hard under, and then the little bright taste of copper. It's not blood taste. It's different. It rang my jaw like a tuning fork. The busy tone in the room pitched up like it liked that. The cord didn't snap. It just tore a little. I bit again and the heat under my tongue hurt, and I pulled back and spit, and I think I spit a tiny metal hair and a red string, and that's as far as I'll go with that. I heard the payphone outside ring once. Then silence. The voicemail light on our motel phone blinked and didn't stop. It blinked so fast it looked solid, and then it went back to a heartbeat pulse. The wires leaned me back against the desk without making a fuss. My head bumped the wood. I thought of my landlord. I thought of a case I closed in April. I thought of nothing. The woman put both hands on my face and said something I didn't hear. The air conditioner blew a short breath and died. From the TV came the sound of me picking up a phone and saying hello the way I do when I'm tired. The snow made a shape again, a long shadow that leaned in like someone at a payphone outside in the rain. It filled the glass and then it didn't, like a glitch. The wires tightened one last small click and then stopped, like a knot pulled to rest. Something in the wall behind the outlet gave with a dry snap. The neon sign outside went off and on, and the room went black between. In the dark, the busy signal filled everything. It was under the floor, and in my throat, and in the bones in my ears. It was inside. It hit a beat that felt like a second heart, and then pushed through it. The last thing I saw was the voicemail light on the motel phone blinking steady, and then, just once, going dark and staying there. The last thing I heard was one clean ring that never ended. Every story has a price. For this one, it's simple: a like and a subscribe. That's how we keep the ritual going. Miss a step, and the next upload might not find you. See you in the next one.